everyone, it's Jenn, the Board Game Librarian, and I'm back with another book review of A Woman in Salt by Gabriela Garcia. This came out this year, this March maybe, of 2021, and it's a very brief book. It's less than about 200 pages. And Gabriela Garcia was mentored by Roxane Gay in her master's program. And this had been one of the books that she had started and worked on while she was working on her master's at Purdue University. She was an MFA. So A Woman in Salt is a multi-generational story told in different time periods and from different perspectives, clearly, of Cuban and Cuban-American women. One of our main characters is Jeanette, and that's a contemporary storyline. Her mother, Carmen, and we start out with the very beginning of the book. Thank goodness there is Maria Isabel, Cecilia, no one's listed, Dolores, Carmen, Jeanette. We also have a side storyline that goes along with Gloria and Anna. So Jeanette is contemporary, she's probably about my age, and their storyline takes place in Miami, but we do go back to Havana and Cuba and with some of the roots there. Our book opens up with a very brief prologue of sorts from Carmen, Jeanette's mother, Miami, 2018. And the first line here is an omen for how the rest of the book is going to go. Jeanette, tell me that you want to live. And Jeanette being her daughter. We then fast backwards, we rewind to Maria Isabel in 1866. And this is like the original matriarch of this particular line of women. And Maria Isabel has been working as the only female cigar roller in this particular factory. And we're talking long days, long hours, somewhat okay pay. But, she's facing discrimination. She's facing all those kinds of things. She gets paid less because she's a lady. But we have a Cuba that's on the verge of revolution, and a lot of things are happening there where they are trying to rebel against the Spanish influence. And we see the influence of that in Maria Isabel's life, where she marries, her husband ends up being executed by, I believe, the Spanish forces, and then she gives birth to her daughter, Cecilia. What's cool about this opening chapter is the power and focus on literature in general, on the power of books. And apparently in factories, and in this particular factory, there would be someone who would read to the workers while they worked. And some of the things that they read were, here in particular, some of Victor Hugo's work. And there is a letter that Victor Hugo writes to the people and the women of Cuba, basically telling them to hold strong, hold fast. You were doing the right thing. Revolution is here. Revolution is coming. Be strong. And this actually happened. This was a real thing that actually happened. We then flip-flop back and we never see Maria Isabel again. That's the end of her story. But we put forth from there a line of women that is born in tragedy, in sadness, and abuse. We flip-flop between Carmen and Jeanette, where we see a lot of Jeanette, and we already know from the opening prologue that Jeanette has substance abuse problems, where we see her downfall, essentially. Her downfall into drugs, her downfall towards her final end, and her relationship with her mother, Carmen. Now, Carmen had come over in the 1960s, and probably the 1950s. I think Carmen maybe the 1960s, when a lot of Cubans had fled because of Castro, and many had thought that they were going to be, and this is from the book, hanging out on the wonderful beaches of Miami for a season, and then Castro was going to be defeated, and they could go home. Well, we all know that didn't happen. So a lot of folks end up staying, especially down in Miami. So Carmen is part of what they call like the original wave of Cubans who ends up coming over. And again, in this, using the terms that are here in this, a more genteel kind of Cubans where they had more money, more access to resources, etc. So Carmen herself is leading a life where she is trying to put on a very good face and pretending that everything is okay and fine, and the dinner party has to be amazing and perfect, and her daughter has to be amazing and perfect, and her daughter isn't amazing and perfect. We later learn along in the book that Jeanette is abused, she's molested by her father, and that is kind of what takes her towards this path of drug abuse and really very poor life choices that she makes. But Carmen is not a mother that is going to help her daughter. She is better at sweeping things under the rug. She's better at not talking about it, ignoring mental health issues. And here we have a crux of a problem here. So Jeanette clearly needs help. She clearly needs a mother to talk to her, to be with her, to help her out, and she fails her daughter in every single way. I've read a lot of books this past year and a half about mothers and daughters, and I'm not trying to gravitate towards those books, but I end up reading these books, having my own mother die last year, and exploring the relationship that I've had with her, and now my birth mother, is complex, and the relationship mothers and daughters have to begin with is complex. But some of the problems in this book would be solved by talking to each other and talking about the things that are going on in our lives and not ignoring them, thinking that they'll go away, sweeping it under the rug. That never works. Never works, folks. And keeping secrets also never works. It's, it doesn't matter what culture you are, it seems, what country you come from. It's a human thing where we just don't talk to each other. And thank goodness that mental health issues are more widely talked about these days, because someone like Jeanette could have really benefited from it. Folks, unfortunately, are calling this an immigration book, and it's not an immigration book. We do have Anna, who Jeanette somewhat helps rescues and then doesn't, and her mother, Gloria. And it's not necessarily all commentary on immigration in this country and on the undocumented folks. Garcia herself had worked before in kind of down in the trenches and worked with a lot of undocumented folks and refugees. And she particularly didn't want to make this book about that. It's there because they're interacting with each other, but we have another mother-daughter relationship as well. So some of the scenes are harder to read because they're very contemporary. They're very difficult to read too. So this book, while it was very short, I think has a lot in it. I think just the exploration of mothers and daughters, breaking chains and cycles of abuse, the secrets we carry and keep that we should talk about and tell people. Those are all really important things. And I think it's perfect for Hispanic Heritage Month, which we are just kind of closing out now. And I think if you're looking for something a little different, that you might enjoy this book. Each chapter focuses on a different woman. Some women are brought there, they come up multiple times, but each woman has her own unique storytelling style too. So that can be a little bit not jarring, but it's something for your brain to get used to as you're going along in this book. So that's this week's book review of Women and Salt, Gabriela Garcia. Let me know if you've read it, haven't read it, sounds interesting to you, and we'll talk next time. Thanks, friends.